My name is Rebecca Turner, and I'm 35 years old. 2 months ago, while my father lay unconscious on an operating table having triple bypass surgery, my stepmother decided it was the perfect time to end our relationship. She thought she was sending me a final goodbye from a dying man. Instead, she wrote her own divorce papers. My father, Daniel Turner, married Melissa 4 years ago. He was 64, a successful contractor who'd built half the commercial properties in our town. She was 39, a former cocktail waitress who'd served him drinks at the country club. My mother had been dead for 10 years, and I'd watched Dad navigate loneliness with quiet dignity until Melissa appeared with her bleached smile and practiced sympathy. She makes me feel young again. Dad had told me over coffee, showing me the engagement ring he'd bought. Dad, you've known her for 3 months. When you know, he'd said, the same phrase he'd used about my mother 35 years earlier. I'd tried to be supportive. I'd stood at their wedding, toasted their happiness, pretended not to notice when Melissa's eyes glazed over during conversations about anything other than shopping or reality TV. I'd bitten my tongue when she redecorated Mom's house, when she convinced Dad to buy her a Mercedes, when she started making comments about his terminal generation. But I'd drawn the line when she tried to isolate him from me. Your daughter's jealous of our happiness, I'd overheard her telling Dad one Sunday. She can't stand that you've moved on. Becca's just protective, Dad had defended me. She'll come around. Or maybe we need some space from toxic people, Melissa had suggested sweetly. The space started small. Canceled lunches because Melissa had planned surprises. Missed calls because she'd hidden his phone. Family dinners became couple dinners, and I became the daughter who visited when Melissa was at her Botox appointments. Then came the morning that changed everything. I was teaching my sophomore English class when my phone buzzed. A text from Melissa, not Dad. Your father's being taken for emergency surgery. Heart attack. Doesn't look good. No hospital name. No room number. No invitation to come. I called immediately. No answer. Called Dad's phone. Straight to voicemail. I dismissed my class and drove to every hospital in a 50-mile radius until I found him at St. Mary's Medical Center. He was already in surgery, triple bypass, the nurse explained. Melissa was in the family waiting room, clutching his phone and wearing designer sunglasses indoors. Rebecca, she said coolly. I didn't think you'd come. You didn't tell me which hospital. Must have forgotten in all the chaos. She dabbed at her dry eyes. It's been such a shock. I sat as far from her as possible, texting my husband updates, praying silently. Dad was strong. He'd built buildings with his bare hands. He'd survived losing Mom. He'd survived this. 2 hours into the surgery, my phone buzzed. A text from Dad's number. Rebecca, I need you to know the truth before I die. You're dead to me. You've been nothing but a disappointment since your mother passed. Always judging Melissa, always trying to come between us. I'm leaving everything to my wife, the only person who truly loved me. Don't come to the hospital. Don't come to the funeral. You're no daughter of mine. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking. Then I looked at Melissa. She was typing on Dad's phone, her acrylics clicking against the screen. Another text. I've already had my lawyer change my will. You get nothing. You deserve nothing. Melissa will make sure my wishes are followed. Then another. Your inheritance addiction is showing. Did you really think you'd profit from my death? I screenshotted every message, my teacher's instinct to document everything kicking in. Then I stood and walked over to Melissa. Interesting texts, I said calmly. She looked up, and I saw the moment she realized her mistake. She'd been so focused on her typing, she hadn't noticed I'd been watching. Your father wanted to clear the air before. My father is unconscious in surgery. He dictated them earlier. Really? Because I just watched you type them. I held up my phone, showing the screenshots. Every word. Her face went white under her spray tan. You can't prove anything. I can prove his phone was active while he was under anesthesia. I can prove the writing style matches your texts, not his. I can prove you tried to destroy a father-daughter relationship while he lay dying. You've always been jealous. I've been patient, I corrected. But that ends now. I walked back to my seat and placed 2 calls. First, to my husband, who is a cybersecurity expert. Can you pull metadata from screenshots? I asked. Already on it, he said. Send them over. I'll have a full forensic report in an hour. Second, to my cousin Jennifer, who happened to be a family law attorney. Jen, I need you at St. Mary's. Bring your laptop and a notary. Melissa spent the next hour frantically deleting texts. not realizing I'd already documented everything. She kept glancing at me, probably planning her next move. The surgery took 6 hours. 6 hours of Melissa playing the devoted wife for every nurse who passed, while sending me increasingly nasty texts from Dad's phone. Stop staring at my wife. You were always your mother's daughter, never mine. I wish you'd been the one to die instead of her. I screenshotted them all, building my case methodically. Jennifer arrived with her legal arsenal. My husband sent the forensic analysis confirming the texts were sent while Dad's phone was logged into the hospital's Wi-Fi from the family waiting room. Finally, Dr. Rodriguez emerged. The surgery went well. He's stable but sedated. He'll wake up gradually over the next few hours. Can I see him? Melissa and I asked simultaneously. Family only for now, the doctor said. One at a time. I'm his wife, Melissa said quickly. I should go first. Of course, I agreed. I'll wait. She practically ran to his room, probably planning to whisper poison in his unconscious ears. I gave her 5 minutes, then followed with Jennifer. We found Melissa holding Dad's hand, speaking urgently. Remember, honey, Rebecca's been trying to take your money. She's jealous of our love. When you wake up, tell them you don't want to see her. Melissa, I said from the doorway. Step away from my father. You can't be here. I'm his healthcare proxy. Actually, Jennifer interrupted, you're not. I pulled the hospital records. Mr. Turner never updated his directives after marriage. Rebecca is still his proxy and primary emergency contact. That's impossible. Dad never got around to the paperwork, I said. He mentioned it last month. Said you kept forgetting to go to the lawyer. I'd thought it was procrastination. Now I wondered if Dad had suspected something. Melissa was escorted out, threatening lawsuits and screaming about her rights. I sat beside Dad, holding his hand, his real hand, not the phone she'd used to wound me. He woke 3 hours later, groggy but alert. His first word, Becca? I'm here, Dad. Melissa? She's taking a break. He squeezed my hand weakly. Good. Too loud. Headache. Over the next 2 days, as Dad recovered, I struggled with when to tell him. He asked for Melissa occasionally, and I made excuses. But on day 3, when he was clear-headed and stable, I couldn't avoid it anymore. Dad, I need to show you something. I pulled out my phone and showed him the screenshots. All of them. His face went from confused to shocked to furious. She wrote these. His voice was dangerously quiet. While I was in surgery? Yes. She told you I was dead to you? Used my phone to hurt you while I might have been dying? Yes. He was silent for a long moment, staring at the messages. Then, call Jennifer. Dad. Now. Jennifer arrived within an hour with her partner and a notary. Dad, propped up in his hospital bed with oxygen tubes and monitors, looked every inch the powerful contractor he'd always been. I want divorce papers drawn up immediately, he said clearly. I want a restraining order against Melissa. I want my will updated to exclude her completely. And I want it all done before I'm discharged. Mr. Turner, Jennifer's partner said carefully, you've just had major surgery. Perhaps you should wait. I've never been more clear-headed, Dad interrupted. My wife tried to destroy my relationship with my daughter while I was unconscious. She impersonated me to hurt the person I love most. What else has she done that I don't know about? We found out soon enough. Once the lawyers started digging, they discovered Melissa had opened credit cards in Dad's name, had been slowly transferring money to an account he didn't know about, and had been corresponding with a divorce attorney herself, planning to leave him once she'd accumulated enough. The divorce papers were served to Melissa in the hospital parking lot as she arrived for what she thought would be a triumphant return. Instead, she was met by security, a process server, and a restraining order. The texts she'd sent from Dad's phone became evidence in the divorce proceedings. Her plan to alienate me had backfired spectacularly. Instead of inheriting everything as a grieving widow, she was leaving with nothing as an exposed fraud. Dad came home 2 weeks later, not to the house Melissa had redecorated, but to my guest room while he recovered. We spent long afternoons talking, really talking, for the first time in years. I'm sorry, Becca, he said one evening. I let her come between us. You were lonely, Dad. I understand. No, I was foolish. I confused attention for affection, flattery for love. He looked at me seriously. Your mother would have seen through her in 5 minutes. Mom would have eaten her alive, I agreed, and we both laughed. The divorce was finalized in record time. Melissa fought for alimony, for the house, for half his business. But the evidence was overwhelming. The texts, the financial fraud, the premeditated nature of her actions. She left with her Mercedes and nothing else. Dad sold the house. Too many memories of Melissa's presence. And bought a smaller place closer to me. We have dinner every Sunday now. Real dinners where we talk about books and politics and memories of Mom. He's even started dating again, this time with women his own age who have their own money and actual conversations. I learned something, he told me last week. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Melissa showed me she loved my money. You showed me you loved me. Even when I was dead to you? I teased. Especially then. You didn't believe it for a second. You knew your father better than that. He paused. Though I am updating my passwords. And getting a phone with fingerprint lock. We laughed, but there was truth in it. Melissa had taught us both valuable lessons about trust, about family, and about the danger of letting the wrong person hold your phone. And your heart. The texts she sent that day are still saved in a folder on my phone labeled evidence. Sometimes I look at them and marvel at the cruelty, the calculated attempt to orphan me while my father fought for his life. But mostly I'm grateful. Grateful that Dad survived. Grateful that Melissa revealed herself so completely. Grateful that instead of destroying our relationship, she accidentally strengthened it. Because turns out I wasn't the one who died to him that day. Melissa was. And her attempt to ghost me as my father became the very evidence that exorcised her from our lives. Now, when Dad texts me, I know it's really him. Usually sending construction memes or asking for help with his crossword puzzles. Real messages from a real father who really loves his daughter.